Hey guys, we are going to talk about pivot tables today. And what are pivot tables? Frankly speaking, pivot tables is one of the tools in spreadsheet that I enjoy using so much because it makes working in spreadsheet so much easier for your data aggregations and I mean summarizations and all that. It makes working so easy. So let's say you want to find a trend, maybe a pattern in the salaries being paid to employees. We want to find a pattern that the salary being paid to employees have a bearing on the department they are from, their education background, their gender, or their performance. How can we quickly summarize this data set to be able to draw insights from it? So let's start creating a pivot table. Let's see how to create a pivot table. So first you go to insert, you see pivot table here, click on pivot table and then go to new sheet. We want to have everything on a pivot table on a new sheet. So we create, and then we have this blank space here with this little table ready to be populated. Well, we have this here. We have rows, columns, values, and filters. And we have suggested. This suggested is just spreadsheet trying to suggest some ways that you can aggregate or summarize your data set using these pivot tables, and it can come in handy too at times, but we won't be going there now. We would like to do what we want to do. We want to take note of the value side, the value section. Remember that anything with numbers in these data sets is what we will be putting at the value side. Just keep this at the back of your mind. Putting values or columns that contains numbers will be the ones that we put on the value side. Columns that contain numbers will be the ones that we put at the value side. And then when we get that at the value side, now you can decide on how to break it down. So pivot table is all about breaking the data sets down to have access to the information you want to know very easily. So we were working on age, but let's talk about take home salary, what we did earlier on. Let's put that on the values. And then we have, by default, when we take a look here, by default it's being summarized by sum. So when we click here, we see the various functions that we could summarize this salary by. We could find the sum, we could count it, we could find the average, the maximum, the minimum, the median. So let's try to redo what we did previously. Let's find the sum of this. All right, and then so we are finding the sum of this, and then we want to find the median. So we drag that and put it below what we just did, and then change the summarize by to, let's take maximum first. Yeah, maximum. So we see this here. So we see the sum. You can double click here to open, to expand the cell. The maximum of the take home salary, sum of it all. Let's say you want to find out the minimum as well. You can put it below and then change the summarize by to minimum. So everything is based on this little button here. Whatever you want to do, how you want to aggregate it, is based on this button here. Learning pivot table at first can be confusing, but when we take a closer look at this, we will get it well. So now with just this, we've been able to summarize our data set. We've been able to see the maximum and the minimum. We could even go ahead and find the average. Click on average, and then we are done. So previously we had to go through, when we click on this tab, you see we had to go through all the process of typing in the formula, selecting the cell, the range of cells, just to find this. But if we're to create a pivot table and then fill this in, we don't have to type in all those formulas. We can just see them straight here. So now let's say we want to categorize now. So after putting in your values, now what you have next is how to categorize them, how to view them. Let's say we want to view them by gender, how much this gender is making, or how much the other gender is making. So we can do that by utilizing the rows and column side. These two sessions only help us to view the category in a way we want it. Do you want to view it as a column or as a row? So I'm going to take the gender for instance, and I like to view it as a row for now. So I'll drag the gender and put it right under the rows. So, and then this can come in the way sometimes, but let's not pay attention to that for now. So we see gender, we have the female and the male. So whatever we were seeing here at first now has been categorized into two. The female, the sum of all female salaries, all female employee salaries, is what we have here, $1,136,644. And then the male, the sum of it all is $634,274. Just like that, with a click of a button, no formula, no separation, no nothing, just like that. You can see the minimum for the ladies, and then the maximum. You can see the maximum for the female and the males. You can see the minimum for both genders as well, and then the average. Simple as that. Let's say we want to view them in a column form. So this row and column, don't let it confuse you. Just let it be on how you want to view your aggregations. So let me put it under the column section and see how we view this now. So now we have female here and then we have male here. Let me close this one. We have female, so it's going to do everything but under the column as females, and then do it also for male. You see why I like using the row section, because of some of these reasons. So it's just the same thing, just it has rearranged them in a row setting. Good. So this is how we have it here, and I would like to revert back. So to go back to the pivot table settings, we click on this little pen tool here, name edit, and then it will open this for us. So I'm going to remove this one from here. All right, so we want to check the relationship. So let's say now we want to check the departments. Let's say which department has the highest pay or highest salary. And put it here on department. Good. So it will find the sum of the salaries of all employees in their various departments. So administration, for instance, what's the sum of all workers in administration department? We have 375,558. We have engineering is taking 638,000. Okay, and then we have sales is taking 278,000. So you see, at a glance we can see that the engineering department is taking the highest pay, the highest salary. And then the maximum, you can see the maximum in all departments. And this grand total here, when it comes to the maximum, it shows us, after providing us with a maximum in the various departments, we can see the maximum among the maximum. So we have this one here as 120,884, and you can see administration is 101,038. But then in the engineering department, they have the 120,000. So you see, Among the maximum in all departments, engineering has the highest salary, highest paying employees. So we see the insight can gain from just clicking off a few buttons. That's how powerful and easy pivot table is. So let's say we don't want to use that, but we want to use the performance. Let's see if there is any form of relationship or trend there. You see those working as outstanding, poor, satisfactory. I think this satisfactory, unsatisfactory, very satisfactory. So let's have a glance and see which group of people have the highest paying salaries. So we have for outstanding workers, they have 475,759, and then poor have $211,008. Satisfactory also has 488,000. That's cool. I think there is a mistake here. It is supposed to be added to this, but for some reason it has separated. And then unsatisfactory, very satisfactory. So we see poor workers with poor performance have the lowest, and then as it climbs up, it goes on and on. So we see outstanding and satisfactory are somehow close, so we can see the difference. So I mean, we can do a lot. And then one thing we can also do is to putting them into subcategories. Let's say after all this that we've seen, we want to further categorize them as maybe genders, how, or department, or whatever. We can continue to put that at the rows column. So it first shows us how, so we see the subcategories, female and male, and then they are all females, and then their performance, and then all males and their performance, and how much they are making. So this is what we term as a subcategory, and you can group them under the row section or still in the column section. So I can take gender from here and put it on the column side, and we see it will still divide it for us. Just as I said, the column section makes it longer, but I mean, this is all you need to know about pivot table. And what are the benefits? We can construct charts and graphs based on the pivot table that we just created. And one thing we didn't talk about too is the filtering. You can filter everything here. Let's say we want to filter it by age. When we scroll down, we see filters here. You can scroll age down to age. We want to see the results for only people or employees above, let's say, we can put a condition here where I can just decide to select maybe people above 20 years or only 18 years. Let's see how the 18 years are doing in the company, and this will be categorized based on them. Whatever we see here is based on people who are 18 years. I mean, we don't have a lot of them here, but this is what we can get based on 18 years employees, and we can add a few more if you want. It all depends exactly how pivot tables can be so fascinating. And if you want to insert a chart, we're going to insert a chart. Yes, so we have our chart here, and we have the performances. We have the performances here, and then the salary range also here as well. So you see there is a lot that can be done easily with pivot tables. We bring our session to an end. Have a nice day, and then see you in our next video.